All right, we're talking SoCo, little Southern charm. I know that. We got some things that we need to address early on. There's two
Okay.
things, and don't mind my jacket. It's cold back here. There's two things that we need to clear up. All right. One of which we whiffed on last week. I'll admit that. We always admit we're wrong. The second one, fucking Jermaine's back at it, and I'm done. I'm fed up.
I know. Wait, what did we whiff on?
Guess we just got to get into it.
Oh, boy.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Goots McGillicuddy. What's up, pal?
Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like I'm on a schooner. You know what I mean? Just like scooting around to the Bahamas. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, Goots McGillicuddy sounds like a captain, like a sea captain. That's what I want to be.
No, I can see that. I've thought about that many times. My earlier years.
Captain?
No, just like moving to the Bahamas and like buying a boat and being like,
oh,
fuck
dude,
everything.
Yeah. Everybody goes through it. There's always like the different stages of a guy growing up, and it's not a midlife crisis, everybody, so calm down. But yeah, getting a boat, just kind of scooting around to the Bahamas, opening a bar is another one, of course.
Yeah, that's
smoking
the classic.
meats, things like that. Everybody starts doing them.
It's a progression. I could still do the beach life, move my family down and just like fish. Like, oh my God. But as I said, we're here to talk Southern charm. There's two things. One thing, I looked further into the Sienna thing, and I will admit we were too soft on Shep. That wasn't the goal at all. I thought that we were still giving it to Shep a little bit. After watching her TikToks, I watched one of the interviews that she did. I will rescind things that I said because I do think that she was trying to get the fuck away from the dude, and he was trying to put her on camera to force these conversations on camera. I didn't know that. So we will always admit when we're wrong. I pride ourselves on that, the fact that we will not stand by points if I don't believe in them anymore. So I did more research and I apologize.
I think it could be the opposite of what everybody thought. And it wasn't just us. I mean, we'll be the first to admit that we were wrong, as we always are. But we're always wrong is what I'm saying. But we will be the first to admit it. And everybody else was thinking the same thing. It seems now like Shep was using the show to convince her to love him versus Sienna was using Shep to get on the show. Correct. So we were wrong. Hey, it's okay. Hand up. Look,
and here's the thing. I'll put my hand up too. We admit it. It is what it is. We'll be on the wrong side of history every now and then. And this time we were. But to further that goes back to fucking Jeremiah. And I'll call him his real name. Producer Jerry as well, because it's fitting with the entire fucking season with Jermaine. And if you go back and watch what he does on VPR, you go back to this season and the things that we've highlighted, the things that we've missed. Once again, Jeremiah focuses on the dudes. Jeremiah likes to try to paint pictures of women doing shitty things. He tries to make women look bad on TV. He has a track record of it. Go back and watch the last scene of the Vanderpump finale. Oh, yeah. He tried to put Ariana on blast and she said, fuck you. And thank God she stood up for herself and she bounced. She wasn't having it. He tries to do this shit. He does not highlight women on these shows. We've been talking all season about Venita getting the shaft. It makes no sense to us that she had that scene with her boyfriend at the time. We didn't get to see any of that until like a clip of the aftermath. The girls went out and had a blast when they were down in the Bahamas. They had like the ladies' night. It looked awesome. We got clips of it after the fact. Instead, we go hang out with the boys and have to listen to Shep fawn over Sienna when she's not that into him. So if you look at all of these things together and then you capitalize it with this fucking episode, and you have to have Venita, who has been shafted from day one on this show. She does not get a fair shake at all. And now you can point to why. And it's fucking bullshit. And we said that early in the season. Venita's not getting enough screen time. We don't know why. She deserves it. She's a good part of this show. Now I know why. It's because Jeremiah wants to highlight other things. And it's fucking insane to me. And I'm so happy that Venita went up and defended herself on Instagram because we get a scene in this episode of her going to JT's room. And it's very, very suggestive, right? This is coming after the scene that we saw of them having dinner together in Charleston, in which he says, hey, I've got a girlfriend. I can't do this. They deliberately tried to paint her as like a homewrecker, as someone that said, fuck your girlfriend. I don't care. I'm going to your room. We've got a thing. They talk about how she like straddled him. She even says that. I was straddling the guy saying, you want this as much as I do. When you put this after that dinner, it makes her look very, very different than if you put this where it actually lines up in the timeline of after the trip.
Yep.
That's fucking ridiculous.
There is no excuse for doing that. It doesn't make any sense from a producing standpoint for the show to change the timeline to suggest that she was doing this intentionally to make him cheat on his girlfriend after finding out that he sort of has a girlfriend. Now, of course, we're going to lay into JT, of course, because he's a douchebag. He clearly has a girlfriend. He knows he has a girlfriend, and he leads Venita on. Yeah, so that's fucked as it is. But for the realm of the show and what they're doing, it makes zero sense. And just from a producing standpoint, we talk about it all the time. This whole season has been, we're going to highlight all the drama. Well, the drama doesn't hit as hard when you're not also highlighting the fun times. Correct. We enjoy this show. This show goes in the same category as like a Summer House, Soho, those types of things. Those shows are at their best when everybody's having a good time and then something breaks down. Something starts to melt down. People start to spiral. They get into fights. They hit so much harder when we see them having a good time. That's when we enjoy it the most. And instead, he's like, no, we got to have drama all the time. And that's why it's so boring, because you can't just force these people who are in their late 30s, early 40s to be fighting all the time. They don't want to do it. They get tired of doing it, and it becomes dumb. So it's a terrible job. He needs to get fired. I think he did get fired, or he got let go or something halfway through the season, right after the Bahamas.
After this trip, he got fired. And I had the privilege of speaking to people close to this show that can confirm all of this. That said, yeah, he was a fucking shit show. Nobody liked the way the season was going. They kicked him the fuck off. They brought other people in to take the footage that they already had and try to do anything with it to shift the narrative in a more positive direction, something more enjoyable to watch. They did say, look, we did our best with what we were given. So it's kind of a polished turd, but it is what it is. That's what we had. So at least people came in to try to fix it. But,
is that a technical term? Polished turd?
Yes, that's what they say in the business. They called us that in podcasting.
Good job by you. Love to see that.
Thank you so much. But no, dude, like, I don't know what the fuck's up this guy's ass, and I don't know what the fuck he thinks we want to watch, but this is consistently bad work on his part. I think it's outrageous and a fireable offense from every other show that you took Venita, who has not had a spotlight on this show for an extended period of time for reasons that I don't know why. You can speculate and say exactly why it is, and I think it's fucking horrendous that the one person of color that you have on this cast, you are doing a fucking smear campaign about rather than show the parts of her life. She has done her job. We've seen evidence of it in the small cutscenes that we get with Venita. They're good. And yet we don't get to dive into her life further. Instead, we're going to paint her as a fucking homewrecker on a trip with JT. Are you fucking kidding me?
Nobody wants
with JT. No,
literally nobody asked for it. Nobody wants to see it. JT himself doesn't even want to be there. He shows up in this episode for a night and then goes home because he's too much of a baby and he can't face the music for the things that he's actually done. We don't want to see that. That is not a storyline. And like we did point to it earlier in the season, there wasn't a lot going on. And obviously editing has something to do with that. We're not going to claim bad edit for the whole season. It can just be a boring season because there's not a lot going on. The group is fractured. Craig and Austin, which it looks like they come together next week. We've been waiting for that for like 6 months at this point. You can point to so many different things, but making JT a main storyline of this show isn't going to work. Nobody cares. Nobody likes him. He's not some like good villain that everybody's rooting against and he makes the show really good. He's just a douchebag that everybody hates. Even the group hates him. So no, it just doesn't work.
No choices that have been made this season have made sense. It has not worked. It's been a bad season. I'm hoping they turn it around because we have other people trying to fix what this dude ruined. This show, any show following this show, should never have Jeremiah back again. Jermaine, as he's called here, is not good at his job. Maybe he was at one point. I don't fucking know. But you got to change with the times, and these shows aren't hitting the way that they're supposed to be hitting, and you can point to a common denominator with this asshole, and I think it's ridiculous. Like, I really had an actual reaction when I saw Venita's post. I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, what does that do for the show? Do you think that we see that? It ground my gear into non-existence. It's obliterated. My gear is gone because I have to read this on Instagram from Venita, who's not getting a fair shake, like I said, on this show already. And now you're trying to make it look like she's trying to be like the other woman with JT. That's crazy talk, bro. That's fucking insane. So yeah, fuck Jeremiah in the face. I have so much more I wish I could say about that guy. God, I hope and pray, and we are going to clip this. I hope to God that motherfucker sees this. And I hope you know just how fucking bad at your job you are. I have an image in my head of like a dude with glasses, shorter hair. I got glasses
too. Yeah.
Shorter hair, like kind of scrawny, like Weasley looking.
And how tall?
Thinks that he's more important than he is. Walks around with his nose turned up because he's had a couple of good runs on a couple of shows like 10 or 15 years ago, and has aged out and needs to fuck right off. Like I really hope that he sees this. Jeremiah, aka motherfucking Jermaine, stop ruining our shows. Okay, stop making up shit. Stop fucking with timelines and just go do something else. Go work for some other company. Go to fucking
timelines are already wonky enough. We can't figure it out half the time. Don't make it even harder.
Yeah,
we're not good at timelines. Just stop.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. But I wanted to get that out of the way out of the gate. Venita has been getting screwed all season, and this was just the cherry on top. We've had it. It's fucking, we're done. Jermaine, right here, buddy.
Jerry works.
Fucking right here, pal. Okay?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, let's get into this episode. I mean, even the beginning, dude, I was like, what show am I watching? Because JT arrives, the music is so wacky. Like every choice made in the beginning of this episode, like that's so I'm like, what's going on? Like, are we watching a different show right now?
It seemed like almost like a circus music where it's like, oh, here comes the clown, and like I know what you're doing. It's okay.
It's like a wacky sitcom.
But you can tell, and just the way that this scene goes too, and we'll go through it. Nobody cares. And Austin says as much. Nobody cares what JT is doing or what he has to offer. And they're playing him up like he's this big villain that's going to come in and he's going to shake the tree until he sees what comes loose. No, he doesn't have an effect on people except for annoying them because he's a little dweeb. That's what it is.
Exactly. And I'm going to highlight everything that he did this episode that pissed me off. I will say, like, the dinner, everything that happened there, I still think he's a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. I did think some of the attacks on him were a little unfair because we have not corroborated the Craig bitch comment. And I still don't believe that he said that. So I'm not going to die on that hill. But in this moment, as everyone's getting ready, you have this stupid fucking music playing. Thanks, Jeremiah. But JT's texting pictures to Venita. Like, which shoes look better? Like, he is leading her on. He is so stoked that he has attention from somebody that he's leading her on this entire time. In Charleston, he's leading her on. He's had this girlfriend for a while, like, as far as we know.
And what would you think? Like, if your girlfriend knew that you were sending pictures to another girl on the trip saying, hey, what do you think about this outfit? Instead of sending it to your girlfriend, she would break up with you.
She'd be pretty fucking pissed.
You don't really have a leg to stand on because you're already an asshole. So you should be on thin ice with your girlfriend as it is and be praising her for even sticking around with you. But instead, you're texting Venita and leading her on. Weird.
Yeah.
He's not a good dude.
What he does later is much, much worse. I can't wait to get to that part. I like a good foreshadowing scene. And like we get a quick FaceTime with Madison and Brett. And she's like, dinner might be shitty. And he's like, well, you won't start it, but you're going to finish it, babe. And she's like, that's why I love you. So I'm like, all right, we're geared up for
supportive husband. We love it.
We love Brett. Brett's the best. But they all meet for the bus to go to dinner. And it's everyone's first JT appearance of the trip. So there's obviously some weird feelings there. I think Sally says, if you're friends with JT, get on this bus. And everyone else gets on the other bus. And there's only like 4 people on the JT bus.
It's like Whitney, Molly, and Shep,
I think. Yeah, it's that's the.
And the only reason Molly's there is because she's just following Shep around like a lost puppy, which is
Molly
kind of tough.
It's tough, but what are you gonna do? She likes the guy, and the other part of that is like she's just trying to be nice to JT. She feels bad for him. She's like, everyone's so mean to him. It's like you'll understand soon. Just give it time.
But also, like during like that dinner scene was just so weird with like the switching of seats, and then Craig is like, "All right, everybody's got to go to their left, so I can be in the middle and talk to people." It's like, yeah, but now somebody else is now at the end that doesn't want to be at the end. But everybody got up and did it. It was just very confusing.
Like musical chairs. Yeah, avoid JT. Like, why just leave, bro? Like, if you're fucking, if people are at dinner, getting up and resituating the seating chart multiple times to avoid sitting near you. Like, just go home, dude. And like, it reminds me of, you know who he reminds me of? And he's the worst human being that I've ever met in my life. We went to high school with him. He's a grade above us. Fair. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. He reminds me of him for multiple reasons, because he is genuinely one of the worst human beings on the planet. Like, he says awful things. He has no respect for anybody or anything. So everyone's mean to him in turn. And when new people came around him, they're like, God, why is everyone so mean to him? You're like, just give it 10 minutes.
Give it
10
time.
minutes.
Yeah.
And he's going to say something horrible, misogynistic, or racist, and you're going to understand why everybody fucking hates him. And without fail, it happens. I feel like JT's the same way, not like the other comments, but like, give it time.
Unfortunately, that rings true for quite a number of people that we went to high school with.
That's actually a valid point, unfortunately. We had a great friend group, though. We were very fortunate in that. Yeah, but there's a lot of shitty people in our high school. But anyway, we get to dinner. And Sally's like, I'm not sitting next to this guy. And he's like, I'll be nice to you. It's like, you called her the other woman, my guy. You don't get to say that now. And by the way, you still haven't apologized, right? Like, you haven't just said, hey, Sally, you know what? I understand why. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That's not what he says. He goes, man, I just got to work on it, because when I get heated in defending people, some people catch strays. It's like, you're not the fucking defender, man.
So crazy.
You're not that guy. But Sally does check on Shep and Sienna in that situation, and he's still leaning on, we got this connection, and she's going to realize it one day. And I just, again, looking at this from a new perspective, it's like she's clearly trying to politely be like, dude, fuck off. And he's continuing to try to text her. He's trying to use the show to manipulate the situation. It's unfortunate to watch, but like, it should be over at this point. And that's what like Craig is saying. That's what a lot of people are saying. I mean, Craig's blaming Sienna, but a lot of people at the table are just like, just move on. Paige says it the best the following day on FaceTime. It's like, if she liked you, you would know. She does not like you. Like, that's where we're at with this whole thing.
This isn't even like, and when it comes to Shep and Sienna, it's not like he's trying to get sympathy from the group. He is actually going through it. Like, he's in the hell is going spiral on. Yeah, he's in an absolute spiral, and that's what he does tonight by going out. And I guess, did you see the picture of him and Whitney at the casino?
No.
Oh yeah, it's him and Whitney at the casino. No, not really. I can describe it to you pretty easily. They're both drunk, and Whitney has about like $400 in his hand, and he's flexing like this with the cash like fanned out. It's like, oh yeah,
bucks?
Yeah, $400. Yeah,
loser.
Yeah, so that's how their night went. But I guess apparently Shep got hammered and fell asleep on the beach. So things are not going well in Shepland.
No, things are going terribly. And again, I did say this last week, like, he deserves everything that's happening for all the shit that he's pulled with women over the years. So like, this is now, you know what it feels like when you've done this to Taylor, who's on this trip, to multiple women in your life. But this Shep and Molly thing, like, Molly, run for the love of God, don't get involved. But at the same time, like, she is trying so hard to crack this man to the point that he reads the text and she says it's sweet. There's nothing sweet about that text. That text is 18 red flags piled into one paragraph. And she's like, she does have freckled lips. It's like, what are we doing, Molly?
What are we doing here? Like, it's I get it. She likes him.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to disparage
it's just
her for liking him. Yeah, that's really just the reaction that I have every time that I see the two interact. And like at the end of the episode too, it's just like, okay, all right, like, I know it's okay, and like, sure, go for it, Molly. If it's gonna make you happy, it's probably not, but
I like Molly.
Go ahead.
I like Molly
too.
So
She's
much,
nice.
and she deserves a good dude. And I'm like, you're hooked on him, but like, don't be. Do better. You can do better.
See?
That's it.
Like, how are you watching this guy spiral about a girl that he's in love with down in the Bahamas that wants nothing to do with him? Looking at those text messages and your responses, I kind of like him. He's really sweet. Like,
I don't know.
He's fucking nuts. Yeah.
Look, my mother-in-law says there's a lid for every pot. Okay. So, I know you will, but JT's doing too much at the end of the table. He's like handing Sally a plate, and he's like, your hair looks nice. And someone points out, like, see, he's trying. And she's like, because he gave me a fucking plate. Sick, bro. It's like, shut up. She owes him nothing after that crazy interaction at his event space. Like, that's another part of that whole thing. You invited her to your event space and then dragged her when she doesn't even know you. So
Yep.
she doesn't owe him any kind of sympathy. There should be no reconnection here and like a friendship moving forward.
Not at all.
That's when we get the first sheet shift. God damn it.
Sheet shift.
The old sheet shift. We're sheet shifting everywhere.
The old sheet shift.
Yep. We all move around the table. And I think once again, Sally's like, JT, don't you think it's an issue that only like 4 people at this table fuck with you? Like, isn't that kind of weird? Like, shouldn't you fuck off or something?
Yeah. Or like maybe apologize or do something, just like, broach the subject because everybody hates you. He's like, no, I'm pretty used to it, honestly. Like, I thrive in hard environments. Like,
here's your sign, bro.
Up. Yeah.
Here's your sign. If this is how it is everywhere you go, and that's what he says, I'm trying to be respectful and not bring stuff up. That's actually disrespectful to sit at this table with people that you have so many issues with, and yet you refuse to address any of them. That's a problem. But instead, because Craig points it out, he's like, dude, just apologize. Instead of doing that, he takes the opportunity to bring up something that's bothering him via the bitch comment, whether or not he called Miss Patricia a bitch. I will agree. He has a leg to stand on. Sure. I will also say time and place. This is not the time nor the place.
It can be if you started off by apologizing for the other things that you did do, that you made people uncomfortable, that you called out Madison and insinuated that you guys were having an affair. Brett was worried that Madison was cheating on him with JT. You need to clear all of those things. And then maybe you can bring this up. Then because we're talking, because we're all warmed up and everybody's talking and listening, you can lean into that at some point. But you have no leg to stand on right now. You can't do this right now. You need to clear those things out of the way before you do this and air your grievances. Because right now, it just seems like you're avoiding all of the apologies that you need to do. You know that they exist. You know that they're out there and you're refusing to do it because you're an asshole. And instead, you're bringing up something that hurt your feelings. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, correct. And like, again, you have a case here, but it's not going to land the same way if you don't account for your bullshit. And like he said before, I'm trying to be respectful and not bring stuff up. Sally makes a great point. Like, why is it got to be on your terms? Why do you get to dictate when we're going to talk about this? Because you don't want to make dinner awkward? Too bad. You called me the other woman in front of all of these people. You embarrassed the shit out of me and made me cry. I want to talk about it now. Or you can get up and leave. But he's trying to dictate when is the right time or place to talk about the actual shit that we care about, but instead brings it back to the bitch comment because he's like, you flamed me. You flamed me. He's like, you flamed yourself. And both can be true there. Like, yes, Craig definitely burned you a little bit. We'll admit that. But you also, due to your past behavior, this is something that for whatever reason is still debatable. You have a lot of people on your team. That's the whole thing. Because of your past efforts and how annoying you are, the only saving grace you have is people are like, he's annoying as shit and he's an asshole, but he doesn't talk about women that way. That's your only saving grace here. But because of your actions
unfortunately,
previously,
he has now insinuated that Sally's the other woman. He's insinuated that Madison wanted to cheat on Brett with him, and he went after Taylor for Gaston. So he does treat women like that to an extent. Maybe he doesn't call them bitches.
Doesn't say the word.
He does enough. Yeah. So yes, it's not. You could sit here and say, fine, like realistically speaking, he didn't say it, but you do treat everybody awfully and you don't care. So it is believable that you did do it. And that's a problem that he's not understanding.
But he'll never understand that because he's just defending people. Everyone hates the truth. Why is everyone so afraid of the truth? Oh, man, it's so fucking frustrating. But
I'm assuming he's done after this trip because doesn't he actually stop in the middle of the season?
Yeah, he stops at some point.
He stops his confessionals and stuff towards the end.
I think so. I've heard conflicting stories. I've heard that he finished out the season but refused to do confessionals after a certain point, and I've heard that he didn't make it through the season. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see which one of those is right.
Yeah.
But he's talking, and like now, obviously, the whole table's talking about his shit because that's the direction we've taken, and it gets to the affair thing. And again, he never said affair, and Madison's like, well, I guess I never really listened to him, and Craig does have a tendency to exaggerate things, so maybe I'll give him a chance to chit-chat. I don't know. But again, we watched the scene. The implication was there. Like, the implication that, like, I know that he's not saying that Madison wanted to have an affair with me.
Yeah.
But the implication is that Brett thought that that was a possibility because of the way that JT framed it. And I do think that that is fucked up. all he needs to say is, I'm sorry. Again, it did lead to a conversation with Madison. I think he's owed that conversation. They do need to talk about it one-on-one, but I hate that this is the way that he got to that point. So it's this weird middle ground that I'm stuck in where, and maybe it's just because I think he's such a piece of shit that I can't get past it, where it's like, yeah, dude, you have a case for these things, but like the way you present things and just the way you go about your life is rude to everybody else. And you mask it behind being the nice guy. And that's really fucking irritating. So I don't really have time for it.
No, and I understand the sentiment like you can't have these conversations right now because everybody's jumping down your throat as soon as you start talking. But the reason they're jumping down your throat is because you're not being accountable for the things that you have done. They wouldn't be jumping down your throat if you got ahead of it and apologized. That's what he's not understanding. So he's taking the lane of, oh yeah, how am I supposed to apologize to people when you guys are all mad at me? It's like, they're mad at you because you're not apologizing. How do you not see that? There's just so many options there for him that he is just avoiding. And that's all he's doing.
Yeah. And it's like, you keep putting yourself in these spots. And that's what Austin says. He's like, you've had so many chances to just be chill, but you just constantly shit everywhere you step. I was like, that's actually extremely articulate in a fucked up way. It's like, that's exactly what he is. There's so many places, like times and places when he walks in and it's like, yeah, dude, there are some things in this room that need to be addressed amongst the people in this room. You are not the one that needs to bring it up every time. When you're at your event space, like 2 weeks ago, you're not the one that has to drive that conversation. You don't have to bring it up. It is happening. It is going on right now. You're not involved. So why are you involving yourself? Because you know people that are involved with this whole thing. That's the whole point when it comes down to like the communication breakdown. Why he's so confused. Oh, I can't bring up the truth. Austin says again, you think people care what you have to say. They don't. That's it. Because of how you present yourself, because of how you present your arguments, because of how you go after people that you don't even know because you're quote unquote defending your friends. Yeah. No one gives a shit. And you keep not being chill and shitting on your feet, bitch.
I'm so happy that Austin just said it, though. Like, that is how we've been feeling for 2 years now. Why does anybody care what this guy is doing? Why does anybody care what he's saying? Like, yes, there are real life implications to the things that he says, but he has such a terrible track record that everybody should just be ignoring him. Like, just ignore. I know he's annoying and he can get under your skin, but Austin finally just breaking it out and just like, dude, no one cares what you have to say. You are not important. You're not an important figure in any of our lives. I don't know why you're here. You're not friends with any of us. You're just causing shit. And then you're complaining that people are being mean to you because of the shit that you caused. It just doesn't make any sense. So he's not worth it.
Apologize.
He is not worth the time. So no one is going to go running after you if you're like, oh, I'm going to leave tomorrow morning. I'm hopping back on a flight. Venita might. No one else is showing up at your door saying you got to stay. Yeah, no.
Not that they're seeing, like, that's the other thing. I hope Venita's watching and seeing, like, the things that we're seeing. Like, now that she's away from it a little bit of, yeah, that's not fair that he kept doing these things and giving you hope and giving you, like, a little bit here and there to make you think, like, oh, shit, maybe there is something here. Because at the end of the day, everyone's going to be quick. That's why that scene that fucking Jermaine put up there is so fucked up. Everyone's going to be real quick to point at Venita. But dudes never get as much shit. JT's the one with the girlfriend. Venita's single. She's not doing a goddamn thing wrong because he's leading her down the wrong path. That's on him. But no matter what, if this shook out that way and something did happen, she would get so much more shit than he would. And that's fucking stupid. So it's really, oh man, I didn't expect it when I was watching this episode, and I just got gradually more pissed off. I was like, this is really fucking irritating.
We have to take the chances that we can because he's going to be leaving and he's not going to be in the show anymore. So we have to take our swings.
I don't
we're not going to be able to.
I could care less. Couldn't care less. I always get that one wrong. Could not care less. There's no way I could care any less than I care now. Got it. There you go. Then I don't care. Yeah. All right. See, that's how my brain works. So,
there you go.
But dinner's over. Craig's pissed at Shep because Shep didn't speak up. I will say once again, Craig, somewhere along the way, your stories seem to have gotten blurred, and I'm giving JT that one. I don't agree. I agree with what Shep said because he was trying to be neutral. He's like, I didn't hear it. We didn't hear it. We ran the footage again, so I don't know when it happened. It is what it is. But now Craig's mad at Shep. He didn't defend him. Whatever. As they're getting off the bus, JT's like, I'm just leaving tomorrow. I'm done with this whole thing, and that's where we get a cut scene. 90 minutes later, some of the dudes are going gambling, whatever. We get the 90 minutes later, and Venita's hustling down the hallway in her PJs to the elevator.
With
Gets
no
to
shoes
Jake-
on, mind you. I didn't like that part. What are you doing?
I know,
Put some
I
shoes-
agree.
Put some Twinkies on.
I like to wear socks in a hotel room because it's gross.
That's fine. Yeah.
I can't lie though and say that on vacation I haven't done a little scuttle down the hallway in my tootsies, just the bare feet.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably
You
have
know,
to. I don't know why.
yeah.
I don't know why it stood out to me as much as it did. But
I
yeah.
get it.
Yeah,
but I've also
yeah,
done it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Realistically, like I understand it, but I've definitely done it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
also-
And like the move when you get out of the pool and you're wet, and then you're like, oh
Mhm.
fuck, I gotta run to my room. Now you're in the elevator, like in swim trunks and nothing else, just like that guy
Yeah.
and a little drunk.
Well, that's the problem that we're getting to. And I know it's been a little bit nicer here in the last couple of days, but can we stop with these fucking like tropical, beautiful vacations
Ah,
in the
God,
middle
I
of
know.
February when like we're freezing? Steele's got a jacket on in his own house. For the
I
love
do.
of God.
My back room isn't
please?
insulated. This is why I have
I
my
know.
wood stove going. I didn't have time to get it lit, so I'm
I know.
a chilly little guy back here.
Chilly little boy.
He's the chilly little boy back here, and I'm trying to warm myself up. I got my slippers on too, but I'm not going to let you perverts see my feet.
Come
got
on.
Too many people sliding in the DMs for these.
Come
bad
on.
boys.
Let's see them.
They don't want to. They're gross. They're all fucked
Yeah,
up
they
from
are gross.
baseball. Thanks, man. You're not supposed to say that.
No, they're beautiful feet.
Thanks, man. That's better. But like I said, 90 minutes later, she scuttles up to his room. As she opens the door, he opens the door. He goes, "No cameras. No cameras." I'm like, that's stupid. That's
It's
dumb.
so dumb. You're cheating on your girlfriends. That's what you're
it.
telling us.
That's
Yep.
it. Okay.
It's
That's
not
it.
because you're so upset and you don't want things on camera. Venita's not coming in there to make fun of you or rip you apart. She's being there
No.
as a friend. So cameras being in there would make sense if that's what you're doing, but you're not. You're assuming that she's going to try to hook up with you, and you want that, and you don't
You're
want cameras on.
leading her
We all
on.
know what you're doing. So stop it. Stop cheating on your
Let's-
girlfriend.
Let's
Love it,
go
Come on.
watch this scene with JT and his girlfriend. Let's sit down with them and watch
You and
this
I
scene.
should sit down with them.
Yeah. And watch her reaction to it. Hey, are
We're
you
at
cool with
JT's event
this?
space. It's just the
Yeah.
four of us.
Exactly.
popcorn?
Fuck yeah. Yes.
All
and be
right.
like, are you okay with what you're seeing right now? After he was texting her pictures of his
Mhm.
shoes, does this look good? And now she's going to his room at, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night on
Yep.
vacation without cameras in there. Are you cool with that? Are you cool with the fact that she straddled him twice?
Mhm.
She's telling us this. Straddled
It was
him twice. Was it thrice?
I
Perhaps.
believe it was thrice. Yeah.
Mayhaps thrice. Who knows? But there was no cameras. I have no fucking clue.
We don't
Okay,
know.
3 times, whatever. It could have been 10 times. It doesn't matter. The fact that it happened more than once while you have a girlfriend tells me you're not that fucking guy.
Mhm.
Because if you were this shining knight in armor, whatever, fucking knight in shining armor, you would have said, hey, I've got a girlfriend. I know there's something here. I can't do this to her. I'm
Mhm.
so sorry. I still want to be friends. Whatever the fuck. You can say, I don't want to be friends. Get her out of your room. But the fact that you want to die on this hill in your confessional, be like, you know how hard it is for a man to have another woman on his lap and not do something about it because he's got a girlfriend? You're not a fucking stand-up guy. I would never put myself in a position where that would happen. That's
Yeah.
crazy talk. And the fact that he's acting like because he turned her down, he's this stand-up dude. I'm like, you were in the spot. You're in a room alone with her on your lap long enough for her to try to convince you that you want it. And don't put blame, like, this is not Venita's fucking fault because you're giving
she
her
didn't
mixed
know.
signals.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's the other problem with the timeline too, because not only are we getting the fact that Venita told us that the conversation they had with the Branzino that she was cooking for him and everything, he told her after the Bahamas, as we know. And the other problem is now we've got confessionals where she does know this a couple of weeks later, and she's sitting there like, yeah, whatever. She has no idea because he's been leading her on. He's probably being ambiguous about what his relationship status is.
Correct.
So that she is still hooked because he likes the feeling. We all know guys like that who are going to cheat on their girlfriends because they just like the attention. That is what JT's doing, and it's very clear to all of us.
He's that guy. That's who he is, and he hides behind this nice guy mask. Those types of dudes are the absolute worst guys out there. If you're a piece of shit and you just claim it,
You own
I
it.
still don't
Sure.
fuck with you.
Yeah.
But all right, fine. If you're gonna hide behind, I did the right thing. I picked her up off my lap after the 3rd time and said, no, I can't do this. It's like you're a bad person. You're fucking with her brain. You're fucking over your girlfriend, and now you're gonna go home because you're going to claim things are escalating with Venita and I got to get the hell out of here. You escalate.
I'm building a tent in my pants.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
You got to get out. I'm panicking down here. What the hell's going on? How did we just now get to a JT impression? Now he's gone. Oh, we'll bring it back every once in a while. But Madison gets a text from JT and he wants to smooth things over. But before we get there, Craig and Shep have a little chit chat about Shep's spiral the night prior. And that's what we discussed earlier. He ended up waking up on a beach chair next to the pool after getting kicked out. So this takes us back to the scene with Austin and Craig, where Austin is just really fed up with Craig's not agreeing with anything he's saying when Craig's insinuating, hey, I really hope he doesn't spin out. This is what he was referring to.
Yep.
He didn't want that to happen. So he's not being a bad friend there. He's just saying he's got a history of reacting a certain way to certain things. And that might not be great down here in the Bahamas. They couldn't find him. I guess they were calling him, texting him. He was gone when they left the casino. Like, we've all had that. I hate that. You know, when you're on vacation or something and you got that one friend that like fucking disappears. You disappear, but you will text
But I always
me.
come back. But
you always like, I'll text you like, hey, are you good? And you always hit me back with, yeah. So I'm not, or you give me a thumbs up. Like, you're communicative, but you vanish. It's like when we were at that bar with Joe Bradley and he's like, dude, I gotta go find Shooter. I was like, he's fucking fine. Watch. I texted you, you good? And you hit me with a thumbs up. I was like, see, he's good. We'll find him later.
Oh God.
But anyway, we get to Madison and JT and he brought some cigars to smooth things over with Whitney, I believe. Like, can you give these to Whitney for the Miss Patricia thing?
Yeah.
And whatever, but you know, he says again, he's the nice guy. I didn't want to have those conversations at dinner, but they kept pressuring me. It's like, whatever, dude. But he apologizes for bringing up the FaceTime. He apologizes for how everything went down at the golf simulator. And she said, you know, it hurt my feelings. And he's like, but you didn't hear what I said. You heard Craig. And it's like, yeah, okay, but what you said still wasn't great because it got people speculating. That's the entire point of all of it. And that's really the entire point of everything he does. It's like, you leave the door open. That's a problem on reality TV because everybody watching is going to take it and run with it. Luckily, nobody thinks in any universe in the history ever that you would hook up with Madison. So like, that's not a problem. But like, this is the whole point, is you do things that there's enough wiggle room where it's like, wait, what? And people start talking. And then we're here where you're apologizing. And we've heard this apology before. I'm sorry I did this. Instead of going on the apology tour when you have to, after everyone bullies you into it, just stop doing stupid things.
That's all you got to do.
Much simpler.
Stop putting yourself in this position. You can't be a sympathetic person or a character in this point and expect things to change if you're not going to change anything. You keep doing this to yourself. So we do not feel bad for you.
Not even remotely. Not one iota of guilt in me dragging him today. But we get to Craig and Paige and the boys. And I will say, and I'm glad that you used it as the questions picture. Rod waking up in the morning.
Rod waking up is great. He was having a great time on vacation.
Yeah, rightfully so.
All the clips that we've seen of him are he's just letting loose, having a great time. Love to see it.
Dude, he's been a delight this season. That's been kind of his role. It's just like having fun. He's been like somebody to talk to when shit goes wrong, but he hasn't been getting in the middle of shit, which I like, and just been kind of having fun with it. He's had a good season in a not so great show. So props to Rod there. But you get Craig and the boys, and Craig calls Paige and says, just you talk to Shep. And this is the smartest thing he could have done because she's already great with words. She's going to lay it out there for him. And the best thing she said, what I referenced earlier, if she liked you, you would know. She does not like you. You shouldn't have to fight.
Gotta bring in the big guns. That's what Paige is here for. Gotta get her on the phone. She's the only one who's going to be able to cut through all the bullshit and just tell you as plain as day, hey, she's not into you, man.
Yeah,
just
that's it.
Stop. Yeah.
Just go your separate ways. And she's like, you know, she doesn't want to come along the boat trip. She doesn't want to hang out. She doesn't want to introduce you to her family. I met her family like 2 months ago. That's 2 months ago. And what was the circumstances? Did she invite you to her house for a family dinner, or were you out and about in her family? Like, it's very different. And it was a while ago. She won't even pick up the phone to talk to you. She sends you to voicemail and texts you, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, it's so fucking
figure it out. It's tough to watch. It's getting easier to watch though.
It's easier
in
to
a
watch
weird
now.
way. Yeah, last week was really tough to watch, and you would imagine that this is actually even harder. But at this point, I just don't feel bad for him anymore because he's expecting things to change, and they're not. And
Yeah,
everybody
and
around
all
him
of
is
Sienna's
telling him.
interviews. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, and everybody around you is telling you how it is, and you're just ignoring them and still spiraling. I don't feel bad anymore.
No, not at all. Not at all. But they get to the boat. They're about to get on the boat, and he texts Sienna, and she's like, and again, this made it really clear too, because you can read through this text pretty easily. And she's like, "Hey, I'm running late. I don't think I'm gonna make it." And he's like, "Well, wait. Like, what's your ETA?" I'm like,
yeah,
Shep, what do you think she's saying?
Just
man?
say sounds good. See you later.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
God.
saying, "I'm not coming on the boat. I don't want to. I'm not trying to let you down too hard.
Huh?
Just catch the drift, pal."
Yeah,
But anyway,
you should be lucky enough that she's even considering coming to dinner.
that she's responding, honestly.
Yeah.
Like at this juncture,
Yeah,
like
she
the
should
fact
just
that she's
ghost him at
still
that point.
communicating.
Yeah,
She's probably worried about her image coming on TV, and
maybe.
I understand. Like after last week, so like I get it. But JT's not coming. He's going home. Fuck him. Who cares? And this is where
Why did
Molly
we get like multiple montages of him packing?
packing. I don't know because Jerry has a crush on him.
We
I guess.
saw him leave, and then right afterwards, they're like, "Here's him packing again."
I was
Why?
so confused.
I thought
was
that I
so
missed.
confused.
I thought at first I'm like, oh, maybe it's just like
I
I
think they
wasn't
did
paying attention, and it was like a scene for the next like
Yeah, I
segment.
think they did a scene
wasn't
coming up, and it
Yeah,
showed
but
him
it wasn't
packing.
coming up.
No, they showed the same scene.
Yeah, it was more in depth. It was him actually going in and packing his toiletries because we need to see that. He's talking to himself. No, I don't need to see that. Go
My
home.
overnight in Nassau is over. I'm gonna head home. Fuck off. Why do we have to watch this? I don't know. But
Why do you have to go home? Why don't you just like ignore them? Don't go on the boat. Just go sit by the pool. Go gamble for a little bit. Have a couple of drinks. Enjoy yourself. Fuck do you have to? Why do you have to go home? You big
I don't
baby.
know. Yeah, loser. But anyway, Shep does the saddest walk ever down to the
It's
boat,
so
and
funny.
everyone on the boat's like, "Oh Jesus, look at this fucking walk!" Like, look at
Charlie
this
Brown
guy.
walk. It's so good.
He's Charlie Browning. Someone said that. Like, look, he's Charlie
Yeah.
Brown. He's like,
God.
if you don't have YouTube, you're missing some great.
I did
prop work.
like all of their sets. The bathing suit and shirt sets. I think
Top
there's
notch.
I think it's called Kenny Flowers. Shout out to Kenny
Oh,
Flowers doing
really?
free plugs.
Yeah,
But I
free
think
ad.
that's what it is. It's a place down in Charleston, and I think they all just kind of went there. But I want one. I want a whole set.
I do like a set.
Yeah.
Just for special occasions, not like on the reg, but like a
Yeah, I'm
boat
not going to do
day.
it in Wildwood, but I'll
No.
do it. Yeah, Bahamas.
Boat
Sure.
day? Sure, why not?
Yeah,
Give me a
boat
cool
day,
little
why not?
set. But anyway, they're on the boat. Shep's spiraling, obviously, and everyone's like leaning on Molly now. I feel bad for her, honestly, because
Yeah.
like it's way too much pressure. But
And they
the
all
same
know she
time-
wants to hook up with him, and she
know.
isn't really making it like unclear at all. She's very clearly interested in him.
But he
So
doesn't
it is kind of
notice.
I know he doesn't notice at all. He's
Dude,
so in his
she's
head.
talking to him about being celibate for 2 years and masturbating.
Yep.
And he's like, "That's crazy. I'm gonna go grab a drink. I'll see you later." It's like, Shep,
I'm gonna
what?
go check my phone to see if my non-girlfriend texted me.
What do you think she's talking to you like that for?
Yeah.
Like, what? Do you think she just offers that info to anybody? Like,
I
no,
think
she's
they
into
kissed
you.
at some point, maybe next week. A
Oh,
little
really?
smooch. Little smooch.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a picture of them smooching.
Well,
Smooching
for
right
her
now.
sake, like, I want it to happen, but then I'm like, I don't want her involved with Shep because I like her.
No, I'm hoping that she gets over it. She gives him a kiss, and she just doesn't feel it. Like there's no sparks.
Okay.
And she's
No
like, all right,
fireworks.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I really like her. I just don't want her to fall for that trap.
I
But
know.
anyway, you get Venita talking to Taylor and Rod real quick, and her feelings are hurt because JT refused to come on the boat. She's like, "Come on the boat for me," and he's like, "No, I can't do that." So her feelings are hurt. I think
Mhm.
she's starting to. I guess not though, because then she has that dinner after the fact.
Yep.
If there weren't mixed signals out there, she wouldn't be continuing this stuff. So again, this is
Yeah.
all JT's fault.
I was hoping that like we would see her start to realize what everybody else is saying, but it didn't seem like that. It seemed like she was still feeling bad for him.
Yeah.
And like even in her confessionals when she's talking about it, she's like, "Yeah, it's really tough to watch your best friend do that." And like she's pretty broken up about it. But I don't know. Like it's so funny. This cast, like half of them have blinders on, and it's so weird. And they have
Right.
blinders on for like different situations with like Molly and Shep, Shep and Sienna, Venita and JT. Like how do they all fall into this trap of just for whatever reason not realizing what everybody else is seeing?
They just turn blind eyes
after
to
that
things.
dinner. Like, how do you not objectively sit there and say, yeah, dude, apologize? And if you're not going to apologize, you're just not a good dude. I think Craig said it best, actually. I don't trust anybody who just can't apologize.
Yeah,
And
say
that's
sorry.
what he is. Yeah.
Say sorry without a but. Sorry I did that.
Yep.
Now, can we talk about what you guys did to me? Sure. Let's air out our grievances. But no, we're just going to talk about why I'm upset. I don't really care that you guys are upset because I did it for virtue, for truth,
virtue,
for honor.
It's how my mama raised me.
Hell yeah, brother. Anyway, Venita does at least have enough sense in this moment to be like, he's got to make it right. Alluding to JT. Damn it, I was so good.
Oh,
48 minutes in.
Episode.
Man.
Whole episode.
Damn. I thought I had it tonight. Oh, that's so frustrating. But this is when you get the second installment of JT packing to leave, i.e. Mission Impossible, as he calls it. And talking about how he sees an escalation with Venita. So now I can't have that happen. I allowed her to straddle me 3 times in my room with no cameras in there, but I draw the line at escalation.
Straddle me once, shame on you. Straddle me twice, shame on me.
Straddle me thrice. I cheated on my girlfriend. That's the rule.
That works. Yeah, that works.
But we get to Rose Island, and the one thing that I did write down, because they're in the water, and Austin's like, "Hey, do you think Shep's tongue tastes like sandpaper?" Which doesn't make sense. I think he meant feels like sandpaper. I don't know what sandpaper tastes like.
I didn't get it.
He's like, go find out. You get what they're doing.
Like a weird. I thought that was just like a weird thing that was like colloquialism or whatever that was just lost on me.
I don't think so. I think he meant to say, "Do you think Shep's tongue feels like sandpaper?"
Yeah, I was like, is this a Charleston thing? Like, I've never heard that.
Could be.
What is this?
It could be a weird Charleston thing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and say he meant to say feels like sandpaper.
Sure.
But Molly goes to her confessional and says, "I feel like we're at like a middle school dance. Like, people need to stop pressuring me. I know that they want me to go kiss him." And like, the other side of it is, she really likes the guy, and a lot of people are telling her to do all these things to help him get over another girl. Like, that's not the right reasons. They shouldn't be pushing that just to make him feel better, because she actually has feelings for the guy. And I think that they're turning a blind eye to that as well, where it's like, Molly, go make it better. Make him forget about Sienna. It's like, yeah, but she doesn't want to be the rebound chick. Like, that's not the vibe.
What does she want to do? Go kiss some sad dude over there? No.
No, not at all. Like, that sounds depressing as shit.
He's going to transfer the sadness to her.
Yeah, hold on. Wipe those tears so I can kiss you. Just God. The one thing I'll say is at least they're having fun for the first time in a while. Like, they're vibing in the water. They're vibing on the boat. Madison and Shep are talking on the boat. You get more from Shep, like, "Oh, we were going around that point over there." And she's like, "Buy me that house." And it was like $10 million. And she's like, "Do you think that you're not rich enough for it?" He's like, "You know what? Maybe. But who the fuck am I?" Right?
Among other things. Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing you can take away is he's like, looking back, man, I'm kind of a wild man, so I get it. Like, I feel a little bit inadequate. You should. You are. Because you don't change. I had personally the most hope for him going into the season after the shit fell apart last year. I was like, hey, I haven't liked, and I historically have not liked Shep. You go back and listen to our last 2 seasons. I don't like the guy. But in that moment, I was like, all right, this can be a caveat for change, a catalyst, if you will. Not a caveat, a catalyst. This could be a catalyst for change if he does the right thing here and if he actually looks inward and grows. He hasn't done that. We've seen an entire season of him just falling back into the same routine. So for him to get to this point of, I feel inadequate, it's like, you should sit in that for a while. And I know what you're doing. You're trying to garner sympathy by saying I feel inadequate, but you are inadequate.
And so Madison's a good person to talk to. She will rip the Band-Aid off. She will tell you if you're being a piece of shit. And if you're a loser, she'll tell you that you're a loser.
But she's not getting the full story, though.
No, I know. Well, that'll come out at the reunion, and we'll be able to talk deeper on that. Obviously, that should be a point of emphasis for that. So we'll have to check in there, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. But before we get to questions, one more emphatic fuck you, Jeremiah. Fuck you so hard for this disaster.
What is his name? Is it Jermaine or Jeremiah?
It is Jeremiah. And when I said producer Jerry, that's what they call him. That's a real thing.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully he hears some of this. I would love for that to happen. You dickhead. Fuck with the good shows? Like, why, bro? What are you doing? Anywho, Any whomst.
Yeah, let's get
do
to
a
some
question.
preguntas.
Vamos a preguntas.
I love this one. From Really Bad Pictures. I love Rodrigo. I hate JT. Yes. Correct.
Period. You're right.
Yeah. From a bro perspective, from Britt Mobley, do all guys act like Shep when a girl doesn't like them, or is it an overreaction by him?
It's an overreaction by him. But a lot of guys do spiral.
Yeah, they get pretty sad. Yeah, spiraling, I think, is too much. You get sad. That's about it.
Yeah. From Daria_PNG, why is Taylor not annoyed at Molly for liking Shep? I genuinely think Taylor's over it.
I think she
from
is
what I've
too,
seen
and
this season.
She should be, and she shouldn't let Shep's actions affect her anymore. And I think she isn't. So I mean, good for her.
Yeah, I agree. And that's another thing that Jermaine has deprived from us is that girls' night out was a really good night for Taylor where she was vibing with all the girls again, which is an important character arc for her on this show, and we didn't get to see that either. From Jamie Gibbs, do you think Jermaine I love that our people call him Jermaine now.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. Do you think Jermaine had a hand in the negative editing of Venita? 1000%.
Yes,
it's got his hands all over it. Like it's textbook
his gross liver spotted hands.
That's his gross fucking the old
loose
saggy
skin.
balls. From Airpick33, do we think that JT removed all negative comments from his post? If they're all positive, then yes, without a doubt.
Sure.
He had our TikTok banned twice for quote unquote bullying and harassment because we called him out for manipulating women via the nice guy tactic, and he didn't like that because we called out his entire playbook.
Yep.
From David Patrick Hines, why are the encounters Whitney's had with women off camera? Are they real? Because he's creepy as fuck and a producer. Yeah. And he probably doesn't want that out there because he probably doesn't look great as he's hitting on younger women.
Yeah, that's why he always gets his own room away from everybody else when he goes on trips so he can do his weird shit.
Yeah, and he's got to unpack his bag of sex toys and stuff.
Yeah, and PJ,
PJ's in the duffel bag.
Yeah,
with the sex toys. He just pulls out of his weird dungeon basement from his bar at his mommy's house.
There is no way that any other podcast is referencing that guy as much as we do.
PJ.
He was just such a non-factor, just a small character that popped up. He got a name card.
It's why the fuck is he there? I don't need to see Whitney's weird friend. I don't know. Just because you let him out of the basement for a day or two. I don't need to see his excursions.
No. From Holly Ganser, at the reunion, will they show the receipts that Craig is lying / misremembering? Yes, but I don't think it's going to matter because JT won't be there.
Well, there's another part is I have a feeling even presented with the evidence, Craig's going to go, I remember what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's immovable on the subject, which is a shame. And I think that also plays into his shit with Austin is Craig doesn't like to go back on what he thinks. He's very hard-headed. He doesn't take criticism well, as we know.
He does not.
Yeah, I think he's going to defend it to the death, even with they're going to play those scenes for him. He's going to be like, I heard it. It's all right, dude. Yep. Let's do one more. From Jennifer McKimber. Why did the producers do Venita so wrong? We don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea. We feel like she has so much to offer. Yeah. And when we do see the scenes that she has, breaking up with her boyfriend because he wants to pursue his life on Broadway, those are all very interesting. But for whatever reason, they just give it a one-off and give it a flashback just to see, hey, this is what Venita's up to. She's giving more than a lot of the people on this show. I know there's newbies that you need to highlight, but she's been on the show for 5 years now? And she doesn't do anything. And she's trying. She just gets edited out. I don't get it.
No. I mean, I know exactly why. Jerry Bowberry is just
Jerry's World.
He hates women.
Yep.
I mean, watch his other seasons. Watch what they highlight. Watch what they try to do. They try to make Ariana look bad on a season that there's a Sandoval redemption arc. He is responsible for the attempt at a Sandoval redemption arc. That's really all you need to know about the guy. He's really bad at his job. He doesn't have his finger on the pulse of what the audience wants in any way, shape, or form. He's a show ruiner.
It's crazy.
You ever heard of a show runner? He's a show ruiner.
Ruiner. Zing. Got him.
Right here, Jerry.
Yeah,
Fucking
let him know.
pal. Bitch.
Yeah.
I feel better.
Yeah. Me
I
too.
feel better. It was eating me up. I was actually excited to get to this part.
Cathartic.
Like when we were talking about it earlier, I was like, I need to vent because I'm mad.
Yeah.
They keep doing
Yeah.
Venita dirty, and we're not going to fucking stand for it.
We're not doing it.
Not today. Not any day.
Not any day.
Got anything else?
Nope. All good here.
And that's our show. Bro's got to go.